That's what I can think of right now. Sorry, I'm going to mute my thing. Just one sec.
Yeah, I love so Courtney and Wendy, what Sylvia's talking about are different styles, especially as we email. And
yeah,
so
I'm actually NLP trained. That's what got me into this. It was the NLP portion of it and how to use it for business as well as yourself and the language, and like that's
yeah.
It blew my mind. Simple
NLP trained. That's what got me into
yeah.
this.
I hear you. Is that Wendy? Is that on the YouTube that's kicking back?
Use it for business as well as yourself.
Like, I'm not talking.
Oh my gosh.
Courtney, by the way, awesome conversations. Thanks for the support.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And it's such a cool study. I used to have textbooks on that, and not textbook, but like books on it and studying it. But now it's just applying it and having fun and playing. Like,
yeah,
truly.
I think just applying is the best experience, because you can read all you want, but unless you actually execute it, so good for you.
Yeah.
One of the things I saw yesterday, I got an email, and it's something I'm really cognizant of, the email subject lines and how sometimes they're written to go down versus up. Mm-hmm. So this one said, if I can remember it, stop self-limiting.
Oh yeah.
Instead of flipping it to the up, so down versus up. So
that's a very sad thing. That's a very sad thing to me, that it actually works. People use it and it is very effective when you talk about the problem instead of talking about the solution. See, I just want to come in and say, oh, look at this, you could do that. No. But they want to talk about the problem. Like, oh yeah, this happened and that happened. And I find it uncomfortable. But if I'm going to be good at selling, I need to be able to ruminate in the problem.
Mm-hmm. That's meeting people where they're at. So, I mean, I had the same struggle. I struggled the same way because I thought, why would you want to talk about the problem? And then I realized, I'm like, oh, because that's where their head's at.
You need to get them in. And then I think that the difference is sometimes people will leave them there, but don't leave them there, right? Like then take them to the possibilities. So they're like, oh man, that is me. And then I hear Wendy, the possibilities, right? That like, this is what your life could be like.
Yeah, for sure.
The hook and one of the things that was a really big lesson for me and a shift in how my sales went was coaching too much on a sales call. I mean, coaching on a sales call, period. And then they would, because I wanted to get them out of that pain quickly, and then they don't buy because they're not feeling the pain.
Yeah.
And so that balance of letting them be in the pain so they can feel that, and then attaching the offer to it versus bringing them out of the pain into the pleasure and then attaching the offer, and the sales were lower because they're, oh, I got it figured out. Thanks. I feel great. There's no pain attached to that.
Speaking of pain, I've been putting myself out there with my real message, talking about angels and stuff. I'll tell you what, every morning I wake up and go, oh yeah, this is going to be live. I can't swear. I go,
yes, you can. It's me. Hello.
I did that. It's on the internet. I'm like, oh no. But you know what, guys, I'm a little excited. I got 99 subscribers.
Good for you.
Right on the edge of reality. Okay. I used to try to teach marketing all the time because I freaking love marketing. And I'm going to tell you, I'm pretty good at it. But I could not get traction for the life of me. I mean, I was helping, I was doing, and it was because I wasn't showing up. And then I wasn't showing up because I realized I have another passion that's equally burning. And that is that spirituality. So I need your help, every single one of you, to combine both. So just keep reminding me it's possible to combine marketing with spirituality.
You don't need reminding, Sylvia. It's possible because you are here. It's possible because of those things, not despite those things. You don't have to put them together. It's possible because of them.
That's a good point. I'm not kidding. I'm not just saying that. I just thought about that because hey, listen, it's 7 a.m. over here. Okay. like, it doesn't have to already exist. I can even make it happen because I am here. Okay, I'm going to be quiet for a bit now. I want to hear you guys.
This is the best conversation. There's going to be people who are in the same position, and that's the difference. That's why these conversations are live, because if someone else can hear our conversation and go, oh my God, that's me. I'm totally right there right now. Like Sylvia, there's people out there on YouTube who are not winning the game of YouTube. And it's not that it's not possible. It's because there's a formula. And for me, and this is just speaking for me, the formula is, yes, it's tactical and it's mental.
Yeah.
Because your issue that you were looking at wasn't tactical.
Yeah.
It was in your mind.
Yeah, exactly. Because tactical, I could tactile the out of it. That's actually going to be the first course that I produce, is the YouTube one, because I freaking love it. But I can't, in my mind, I'll limit myself because I know I'm speaking to Wendy here. In my mind, I thought that I would have to have at least 1,000 subscribers so that I could give social proof that I can teach you how to build and grow. I have 100,000% confidence I can teach you how to build it because of the tactical, but growing it requires something outside of this. And that's actually what led me to doing this spiritual stuff, because hello to all my past customers out there. They would come and they would pay me well. We would have an excellent relationship and they would do all the tactical stuff. And then suddenly they would just fade away and drift away from it. And I'm like, I don't understand. This is so good. It's going to work. The webinar is going to work. The Facebook ad's going to work. The funnel's going to work. And then it was because it was in their heart. They couldn't show up because something was misaligned.
Yeah, well, the misalignment, you believe, is with where they're headed with it, or in themselves?
I don't think they spent enough time thinking about what they wanted to do and how they wanted to show up in the world.
As a human.
Yeah.
Yeah, not actually in their business as like, and tactically in their, where they were headed with it. I see. Yeah.
I feel like because online business is so new, everybody feels that they need to make one. And they're thinking, I want to make a business as opposed to, and I want to make money as opposed to, I have this burning message I want to share and I'm going to share it. And people say, how do you do it without a script? That's because I'm really freaking excited. And so I talk about it. I don't need a script. They're like, oh, how can I learn how to do that? I'll tell you what, if you tell me to teach something I'm not passionate about, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's it. And that's me too.
So yeah, I hear you, Sylvia. That when I started my marketing firm, I was 6 months pregnant with my first child, and I knew what was driving me at that point was I wanted to have a business. I wanted to support. I loved the idea of running a business. I didn't care what it was, and so I built that from that perspective, and it was great. But it wasn't. There was a piece of me that wasn't in it. It just wasn't me. I birthed it, but it wasn't an authentic space. And so I loved it. But when I really realized who I was, it wasn't the tactic that I really loved. It was the business strategy, and it shifted. And so now I have this business that's not necessarily aligned to where I was. And I got to that point of saying, okay, well, it either gets to shift or I get to let it go out into the world and be on its own. And so that's what I chose. But I think that point that you're talking about is that point of where you say, oh, I've created this great funnel or this channel and it's great, but it's not me. And then you release it. And most people then we get to commit to the journey of understanding who we are. I spent a year sitting on my hands, just really understanding that and having fun and learning. And
I think when I heard everything you said, and it made me think of something about Wendy. So Wendy approached me as a friend, and she said, I want to start a YouTube channel. I don't have the time. I don't have, like the normal stuff. And I said, why don't you just take your normal stuff you do and just click live?
Ta-da!
And you know what, Wendy, there's one more step that we need to do. We need to go back into these lives, and we need to put tags in it and hashtags and words so that they get seen by more people, even though that mortifies me, the thought of people seeing me.
You don't want to be seen?
I got a big problem with it, but I'm doing it every day. I'm doing it. Oh my God. I put something on Instagram yesterday. I woke up this morning like, oh man. If it's a picture, I'm fine. If it's a video of me talking about what my beliefs are and who I am, freaking, I don't care. I'm doing it.
You know, oh my God. You know what I love most about what you just said, Sylvia?
What?
It's like the best place ever. That is the magical piece that gives you everything you want. When you have that kind of resistance to yourself, that is the magic. That is the secret sauce. That is the gateway to having it. And it's showing itself to you. And you're in that wobble position of, I don't really know if I want myself or not.
Yeah.
That's what it's telling me, right? And so by leaning into you and just going, fuck it, I'm doing this.
Oh, are we going here?
Where on my channel? I'm okay with that. That's who I am, like as a human. You just get to lean in and watch the magic happen. If it wasn't, if you didn't feel that wobble, that fear, that trepidation, then there wasn't anything there. It would be easy and everyone would be doing it. And everyone would be there where they wanted to be and they'd all be happy and joyful and blissful because they'd be living their best life in their body as, you know, source expressed as them individually. Because there's a resistance, that is the most beautiful piece, I would say the most beautiful gift that we all have as humans is the indicator that we're onto something. Not the fear like I'm going to hurt myself, but the fear like someone's going to see me.
Yeah.
Oh, heaven forbid, right? Oh my God, someone's going to see me. I wonder what's going to happen. Well, if you really truly look at you and who you are as a human and what you're really after, how kind and generous and loving you are, what do you think's going to happen? They're going to fucking love the shit out of you. Like they're going to be like, oh my God, I love this girl. I don't really know her, but I love her. I could feel her energy, and that's what it is. So you're coming from in your soul and your spirit, your energy of you is what they're going to see. What do you think they're going to see when they see you?
I don't know. I just keep checking to see that I can't believe that the numbers didn't go down.
No.
I'm like, oh shit, it didn't. Nobody left.
You know, it's like you're hitting that magical zone of possibility. If you didn't feel uncomfortable, you wouldn't be there. There'd be more steps in that space.
Well, I think that I got to drag Courtney into this because Courtney and I have been like, first of all, Wendy, thank you. This is the best group here. Kathleen, thank you. All you guys. This is great. But this is actually a mission of mine. So I appreciate that you're saying that, Wendy. And it's very painful, but it's about self-love, I think. And also remember we were talking to Marty and how you can keep real busy behind the scenes if you're not prepared to step into that bravery zone, confidence zone, whatever zone, hit and miss zone. So I finally feel that way. I feel like I'm a late bloomer. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm here.
There's no such thing. You wouldn't be who you are today if you did this any sooner.
And it couldn't have happened any other way because it didn't.
Exactly. Cheers.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
That's the most fun about this life. So, oh yeah, I was good, Sylvia. I'm gonna tell. Here you go. I'm gonna be brave and say it on live. And this is so driving business coffee. And this is what happened to me yesterday. I'm all crunchy because there's stuff going on. Like I had visions of what I would like my technical world to look like, but I haven't, potentially put it all together properly because it's not my zone of genius, and I'm okay with that piece of it. But putting it together sometimes is like crunchy. Moving through it's also crunchy, and I could feel it in my body when it gets all like misaligned. Fine, no big deal. I got lots of stuff going on. I'm like, I'm just going to take a moment. The only thing I could think of to do, and this obviously won't be a surprise to you guys, is to meditate 5 minutes, standing in the middle of them. Like I'm wandering around the house. I get back into the office. I'm like, okay, I only have 5 freaking minutes. That's it. I'm just going to ground myself and I'm going to meditate 5 minutes, standing in the middle of my room. Okay. One of the things that I always do is I fold my hands like this in prayer form, and I let the 2 thumbs touch my heart center. And I think, Courtney, I might have taught you that before. I'm not sure. Something happens. I could feel a vibration open up. It's almost like a portal opens up. And it kind of shakes my body a little bit in that space. And I'm like, okay, so I'm standing there, I'm like, okay, this is awesome, right? I can breathe. And I have my eyes closed. And suddenly, this huge red being, dark red, like dark red, with like a, I don't know whether it was like a bird head or something. It's just red. The whole thing's red. Shows up in front of me and says, I am Ra, God of the sun. And I was like, okay.
Sorry.
Like,
That's awesome.
what the heck, right? And he said, we are here for a human experience that has no reasons, no agendas, no nothing, purely for the experience. None of this matters. None of it. And I was like, okay. He says, it can disappear like this. And he went like this, and the sun burst and disintegrated everything in a second. And I was like, okay. And that was it. I literally, like, I knew I was done. I opened up my eyes. I felt stronger. I felt grounded. I felt present. And I realized that all the things that I was making up in my head about how I was feeling was all a crock of shit.
That was so powerful.
And so I'm like, I'm thinking, who is Ra? Like, I don't even know anything about it. Like, I really don't. Honestly, I never studied, whatever. So what do you think? The first thing I did, hop on Google. I'm like, Google, God of Ra. I don't even know how to spell it. I'm thinking it's R-A. So I'll put it, I'm like, what do you think says? God of Ra, God of the sun, the God of all, like the God, the father of all gods, the creator, part creator of everything. I was like, yeah, you're right. He could make everything it could disappear like that coming from this being. That's true. And I'm like, obviously went down the rabbit hole of like Ra and there's legends like or stories about him and who he was and who his wife was made to be and what his role was. And I just went in down the rabbit hole.
Was his wife Isis? Is that the one that was? No, that
No.
wasn't.
No, that was Horus.
Horus. Okay.
I think that was,
yes, Horus.
Yeah. I learned that while I was down the rabbit hole. That's how I learned that. So what that showed me was all of the stuff that you believe to be true, all of it, even the good and the bad and the indifferent, is all a crock that we make up in our heads. This experience is truly for the experience. So you can go, hey man, this isn't working. Like, this shit's not working for me. Great acknowledgement. Change it to something else. How? Fucking choose to change it. Just go, you know what? That's not working. What do I got to do to shut that down and open this up over here? Because that's not working. So I can keep choosing to beat my head against the wall over here, or I can do what I got to do to close this down, go over here and open this back up.
Oh, girl, your hair's on fire. You're on fire. This is good stuff.
Well, I'm just saying that happened yesterday, and I was just like, those experiences for me, they're not just words.
No.
It's a literal, infinite expression of me to me. So I'm embodied. That is me embodied. I embodied that experience. I embodied Ra as myself because I felt it. I'm like, I'm asking the question in my head, like, am I him? Of course I'm him. We are all him. We are everything because we are infinitely all things. That is the oneness of everything. And so I was like, man, I must have been really in my shit for that guy to show up. Like, wow, how like down the freaking hole was I in my head that to close it. And I literally it wasn't even 5 minutes. I bet you it was probably a blink. I don't really know how long because I didn't time it, but I can imagine because in this, in the energy world, it's no time. So it could have been 30 seconds, could have been 5 seconds for all I know. But the information that I pulled through that I embodied in the moment was visceral.
Well, okay. So I know you bought my book and I know you haven't read my book, but my book is called Downloads from Heaven. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, is you're just sitting there minding your own business and do a little meditation and wham, you get hit with that. That is so good. I believe you 100. I've never had that kind of with raw, but that you're speaking my language. Now, truth be told, if I was in my business height where I was, making a lot and doing a lot, I'd probably be like, I ain't got time for that. I so have time for this. I so get it. And this is more transformative to me than anything ever before. Why? Because you're in touch with yourself. This is great. Oh, okay, enough.
That's
I think
right.
what's really cool is when you start to, because it can be daunting to think of like those stories. And I think what's really cool is when you start to look at like your mind and you start to like disattach from those mental games, more of these experience are then able to filter in, and then you have the capabilities to begin to make sense of that information. Like it's so cool how it just like ebbs and flows together. It's
When
actually
you're looking for it, you're not going to find it.
Mhm.
When you
Mm.
when you're like, I want that experience, right? For anyone out there who's listening to it, I want that experience. You won't get it because of that thought.
Yeah.
Tell us more about, like, so this happened to you. What does this mean in the practical world, Wendy? Like, now that you've had that experience, where does it all filter into?
Oh, it permeated everything, in that I just looked at what I was crunchy about before, which I'll tell you, to be honest with you, is hardly reachable in my head. Is an easy conversation to shift. It's just a decision and a choice. It literally is like, okay, that's not working. Then I'm going to close that and open this. That's really how the action goes. There is no attachment to doing that, where before I was attaching emotions to it. I was attaching emotions, what it meant, what it might mean for someone else. Like I was looking out thinking, I got to think about someone else, and really that someone else is me. Right? So it literally disattached everything I was thinking to what I was thinking, if that makes sense. Like that there was a thought process that was directly attached to my heart, which was causing the emotions. It disintegrated that connection. And I'm like,
I wonder what Kathleen's thinking about this right now. I've thought it twice, so I'm going to say it out loud. What are you thinking?
yeah.
Yeah. So, well, Wendy and I, she called me after that. We talked before it and after it. So it was great to see that connection. And
yeah.
what it brings up for me, and you had asked the practical question, Sylvia. I'll give you an example of not necessarily the same, but I was looking over some logo examples for Profit Launch Club a month ago. And let's say it was a Friday that we were looking at them. I don't remember the date. But the Wednesday night before that, I dreamt that I was looking at these logos, and I looked at the finished one, and I said, "Oh, that's so cool! Like this Profit Launch Club, there's a little rocket in it," and I had the visual of exactly what it was. And so then when I sat down to look at these logos, and my friend who was working on them, Kevin says, "Okay, we've got 4 choices that we put together." I said, "Great. So I want you to write down which one I'm going to choose." He says, "I haven't even shown them to you." I said, I know. I'll write a number down and you write a number down. And so I wrote down the number 3. And I haven't seen them yet. And
Wow.
he writes down a number, which was not the number 3. And we go through them. And number 3 was the one I saw in my dream.
Oh my God,
Word
that's
for word,
so good.
color for color, everything. And I was like, yeah, that's it. And so I was sharing with him. He's like, okay, cool. I still were on the same page. But I saw it so clearly. And so then it was just bringing it into reality to know that that was the case. So I think it's the same piece of, I don't know when it was created. My guess is it was created that day, that Wednesday. I asked him when, and he thinks it was around then that it was created. So it was created, I saw it, and then I waited 2 days till it came in front of me.
Wow.
And accepting that before, in the past, I would have said, well, that's just a coincidence, but nothing's a coincidence. And so the power of, I hear exactly what you're saying, Sylvia. Years ago, I never would have taken the time to say, but of course that happened. Like, of course it did. Because we're all one. So
wow.
I got to see that. So that's what comes up with me when I hear that Wendy story of, yeah, these things happen all the time and we just brush them off as something else. But how powerful now, if I was going to make a decision, if I repeated that, what if I would have picked 2, knowing that 3 is what I really want? Then I'm forced and I'm not in power. And force doesn't work.
Wow.
So fun. So your gateway to information is your dreams. That's where
Dreams, shower. I got a lot of.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Well,
me
that's
too.
I was listening to Ram Dass yesterday, and he brought up a good point about dreams and that stuff. That how did he was answering a question, something around that. And when you're ready to know, you'll know. And if you start to like try to overanalyze your dream and it doesn't have really significance, he says, really let it go, because now you're jumping in here. If it's meant to be significant, you'll know. So I thought that was a really good way to kind of like when to learn how to embody it and be practical with it. And sometimes when it's like, oh, maybe that'll be informative later.
Yeah. I had a dream on this past Friday night, and I didn't even really think about it. And then my husband and I, we've been moving through a lot of stuff this past week and realigning of businesses, and 2 closed, and it's been a big week.
Yeah.
And I had a dream on Friday night, and then I didn't say anything about it because I didn't understand the relevance to it. And then Sunday morning, Josh and I were talking, and he had mentioned something about a dream that he had Friday night. I'm like, whoa, it was 95% similar, but he had an additional 5%. He had the additional piece that made mine clear to me so when he shared that, then I remembered, oh, this happened, and it became clear.
God. You guys are tripping.
I'm telling you, we've been through a lot. But Josh and I have been together since 1998. You should be able to do that math.
No
faster.
way.
Yeah, I'm 38, so a lot of our life, and so we used to liken it to that of, oh well, we're connected because of that. But I mean, Wendy and I have only known each other for what, a year and a half.
Yeah.
And it's like we've known each other for our whole lives. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's awesome.
Wendy, I just want to get back to your thing about Ra. I heard everything you said, Kathleen, and I'm like, I love it. Wendy, what you said, I feel is so powerful in the sense of that nothing really matters. And I think that that's where I'm getting my courage right now, because it's all a big story that we're creating, and the sun literally can explode anytime. And not only that, but there's also supernovas that are ready to go too. So around us. And I do feel that we're just making it up as we go. And if we make it up as we go, why don't we just make it fun?
Yes, that's my whole MO. If it's not fun, I'm not doing it. But you can have fun living a luxurious life. You can have fun being generous and kind and loving and successful. You can have fun doing everything. You don't have to be like living the martyr life in order to exist. Literally, that's just what do you call it, an archetype of a possibility. But it doesn't mean you got to choose it. It has no more value than any other type of human living on the planet. It's all the same. And you get to make it up. And the coolest part is you have the capacity to actually really make it up. Like pull something from nothing and make it so. Where someone else would be like, I have never seen that before. And you'd be like, awesome, because I just pulled it really literally out of my ass. Like literally out of nowhere. And brand spanking new. So it's so profound to just let all that shit in an instant. Like it wasn't even a nanosecond. I was able to feel the shift out of where I was to where I am. And I know, Kathleen, what did that feel like for you? It must have been different for sure. I felt it from before.
Yesterday?
I was crunchy. I was crunchy talking to Kathleen, and then that occurred, I think, did I message you or did I call you? I can't remember.
You called. So what I experienced in you was the surrender piece, which is interesting because I had just, between Monday and Tuesday, that I had walked through all of that. And so for what I felt for you was the space of, okay, I know I get to have these conversations, and so you knew where you were going to go, but you really hadn't attached the ease to it yet.
Yeah.
And then you surrendered, and it's like, oh, it's just a conversation. And the moment before that was like, oh, I gotta have a get to have a conversation, like popping yourself up. And then it's, oh yeah, it's just a conversation. It's a total shift.
Yeah. And there was
leapfrog off of one another. I love it, right? When you're like just
Mhm.
like it, you just that makes me so excited.
yeah.
I'll tell you,
like-
and then this is Wendy stood with me through this. So we have these giant experiences this last week. We ended up closing 2 businesses. We could get into all those details, but Thursday night, so unexpectedly, it would have happened. I thought it was going to happen the end of the month, but I get to be unattached, right? And we had situations that occurred that we got to close them Thursday night. And so there was a lot attached to that really actually had nothing to do with the businesses. And what I realized on Sunday was because of the way that those were falling, worst case scenario. So this does not mean that I would even in any way have to pay this, but worst case scenario that I got to be willing to pay was if everything walked away or just taken away, whatever words I want to attach to it, I have my family and I could go get a job at the grocery store. That was my worst case scenario.
That's great.
Well, yeah. And I wasn't okay with it until I was. I was attaching a lot of meaning to that, being like, oh God, that would be horrible. And oh, well, I wouldn't have a car and all that. Well, the grocery store is like half a mile down the road. I could walk. When I was my first job was at a grocery store and I walked there. It's in my book that I wrote about. I kept wanting to drive.
I want to get your book.
Yeah, well, I gotta get yours too.
Okay. Oh, I want to share a little creation story. Oh, let me see. Can I see, please?
Joy, this one's the rough. It's final now, but joy and
joy
uncertainty.
and uncertainty. Okay.
It's
It's
so good. Like,
Joy
it's
and
so
uncertainty.
good.
What, Courtney?
Sorry, is it on Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
Kathleen?
you get the ebook or the paperback. Yep, you can just look it up by my name too.
You get to send me the link and I'll put it underneath here, and yours too, Sylvia.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you do yours, Courtney. We'll put your book under there too.
Does
Yeah.
Courtney
Okay,
have one
excellent.
too? Courtney, do you have a book?
No, not
Oh,
yet.
not yet. I was actually talking about it with my stepdad yesterday.
Oh,
I
Oh,
love it. Okay, I'm
Saying
pulling
be
it
the
up
right
real quick.
one.
I want to tell you guys this fun story. So when I used to do web design and graphic design and stuff back in the day. And so in my website, I was working for this guy in fitness, and I was a fitness instructor. And I won awards for it. Anyways, I was working on the web because it made me more money than fitness, to be honest. And he had all his fitness stuff on his website. I'm like, I could make a school out of this. I could do a certification school. I could call it online fitness education. This would be so good for women who have, who are far away from the city and maybe who are single parents, because I used to be way back in the day a single parent. They could do this. They could do it inexpensive. So I said to him, hey, have you ever thought about putting it online as a school? Because I could build it and do that. He's like, I didn't ask for your input in my business. And I was like, what? So I promptly did it. And everybody said, nobody can learn online. You can't teach weight training and personal training and yoga online. This can't happen online. You can't teach fitness here online. I was like, oh boy, this is 2000 and I'm ready to roll. Totally did it. It was the most successful thing I've done to date, except for the things that are about to happen in my life. So good. And I'm so glad I didn't listen to those bullshit people. And even all the way up to the top of the line, they said, well, we have to do a project pilot at the University of British Columbia to see compared to people in class and online. And they were so ready to tell me I couldn't do this. And it worked. Everybody, as many people who failed in class, failed online, as many people who succeeded online, succeeded in class. And I'm so glad I didn't listen to everyone, because every single person, including my husband, said, I don't think so. That's a bullshit idea. And now everybody's doing it, and their uncle.
Nice job. See, you followed your instincts then.
Yeah, and that was a long time.
I think
Well,
we just gotta tell you that you can't do it.
that's the thing.
So you can't even reach 1 million followers on YouTube. There's just no freaking way.
Well, once
Sylvia.
yeah.
Oh, no. What's coming up for me? Probably, I don't know, 6 years ago, I had an idea where I was going to create a marketing school, not necessarily for certification, but for marketing directors to train them. And it was before the verge of online education had really been birthed. And I shared that. I wrote out an entire curriculum. I brought in different curriculum directors to look at it. And I had a few people close to me that just didn't see the vision, like their heart wasn't in it. And they said, oh, I don't think this will work. And I let that be the guide too. And as you're speaking, that's what's coming up for me of like, we do that to ourselves of looking for that outside validation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really interesting because it would have absolutely worked.
Yeah. Well, Kathleen, you know what? You can still do it. But apart from like, I'll check it out. But apart from that, after that success, I realized 20 years after that, I didn't want to do that anymore. And I let go of the most successful thing I ever did. And I'll tell you what, it changed me like in a negative way. I thought, oh, I can't do anything anymore. Maybe that's the only thing I ever could do. That was great. I started doubting myself and really because when you make that level or magnitude of success or money and you decide, okay, I want to back out of that. I'm not feeling it anymore. People look at you very differently. People who regarded me as the person who I was, like, okay, sounds really stupid to say it now, but they'd ask for my autograph or, oh, you are Sylvia Isaacson, or I saw you on the videos. And now it's like, who the hell are you kind of thing. And it's a real, you're not saying that now. You're not saying that, but it's a real tough thing for your ego to take. And that's where I learned to put my ego down and to reinvent myself like the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
we can do right now. How about you guys will all make an insane declaration live. And I dare anyone to say it's not possible. And when I say anyone, I say anyone like watching or whatever, because it's your reality. This is our reality, your reality. So what do you really want? Go ahead, so. What do you really, really want?
Let me first. Give me time to think.
No way.
I think
No
Kathleen,
way. You whip it out because you already know what you want. You're just trying to figure out how to say it properly, and that's not going to serve you at all.
well, I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe you see something I don't. But what I want is, okay, I want to establish an audience with the truest, most authentic show up on my part. And then I want to show people, I want to have systems in place where if you want to show up online and people don't believe you, the first thing is don't listen to anybody who doesn't believe you. That's the first rule of thumb. I would like to have a little bit of a schooling area I wouldn't call it a school, but I'd like someone to go where they're at and learn, okay, I want to be good on YouTube, or I want to show up with my virtual summit. I want to have courses. I want to do workshops. I want to show up online and take my expertise and do something I didn't think I could do before. But I feel like I'm at the preliminary stages of showing up as my real self to begin with. Because as you go through university and as you go through life, or my life could be different for you, it was always beaten in you. Don't talk about personal things. Don't go spiritual. Be professional. You're a professional. These are facts. You can't be an author of a textbook that's right across Canada that universities buy and talk about weird shit, right? I'm talking weird shit and it's happening for the rest of my life, and I can do that and this, and I'm not going to limit myself. So my declaration is to continue to be myself and to continue to work on that. And this sounds cheesy, but I want to make my website a reflection of a place where you could go to take the actions that you need to do that I've already done. And I feel confident I can hold your hand and hang out with you.
All right. There you go. So then we've all heard it live. Now it's etched in the digital space, and it's 100% it's already done because you've decided so, because you've said it out loud, and because you've dreamt it. It's already done. You're just walking.
I also want to be a rock star.
That's the dream.
Just kidding.
that may happen. Okay, Courtney, go ahead. What do you want?
A rock star. I always loved like drama, and then I want to be in a movie or something. So maybe that comes after the book, and who knows. For me, it's to continue to show up in the best version of myself, which then translates into educating and teaching others, really, I guess, about resilience and more in the context of working with parents, teachers, and children. Not sure how that shows up, but through yoga, mindfulness, education around how to take care of your body and nutrition, and how to work with the mind and connect with your heart-centered breathing, like through heart math and all of that good stuff. So bringing all that together just to create this space of inner peace and kindness and really love and kindness for everyone. Like, just let's all be a little nicer to one another. Like, learn how to communicate a little easier with one another, that it's not you against me. It's wait, I hear you. And so.
Wonderful. That'll translate for sure. Yay, Kathleen.
You're holding back all of your thoughts about what we're saying. I just know it. You got to tell us after.
Who, me? Who, Wendy?
Wendy, she's got to tell us after. Anyways, Kathleen, I'm sitting on my edge.
Yeah, mine are very similar to Sylvia. I actually have a list on my bathroom window that is the alignment that gets to be created. As I said, like the last week, we've been through a lot, and I actually just got a text from my husband that's a lot of those pieces that we declared are lining up exactly how we wanted them. So
congratulations!
Yeah, it's huge. So wow, more than I ever could have thought possible. And so more than anything, it's truly to create a space that is in alignment with me, that calls forward the people that are either entrepreneurs or soon to be entrepreneurs, that have a desire and get to see possibility and create that and manifest it with joy and ease.
Oh,
yeah. It's you all, like what I'm hearing all of you say is that you're attracting people that are just like you, right? Because Kathleen, your people are at the beginning stages, but they are powerful humans that haven't addressed their spiritual nature, right? And Sylvia, yours are powerful humans that are already addressing their spiritual nature, yet would like to step into business. So those are two totally different types of people. And Courtney's, yours the same. You're creating a space very similar to all of that, and you have a different generational expression, and those are your people. So across the board, you're serving others with your zones of genius, right? So when
you're not getting off the hook.
Yeah.
Oh, good call, Kathleen.
I won't. What I'm getting at, I guess, is exactly, you guys are expressing exactly who I be. Uniquely serving from sheer joy and passion about who you be, and you're delivering your gift to the world in the only unique way you know how, which is you being you. Not a freaking lick of difference.
Can I write that down for the subtitle of my website?
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch this again because that was really good.
And that's what it is for me. It's experience this reality as inner peace and being that first, and then allowing others to walk in and actually see themselves as feeling peaceful and accessing that peace. And if they can't see the gap, then I'm just going to hold up the mirror, right? So you can stand in it, because everything is shiftable. Listen, if Ra can show up, I don't know who shows up anymore. I just closed my eyes, and I wasn't, this the piece I get to translate for everyone, is that I didn't ask for some powerful God to show up in front of me and tell me what's what, right? It was me, my soul was going, what's what, dude?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what showed up. It was me asking a powerful question, in being willing to receive the truth. That was, to me, the truth. And truth is only alignment with your individual expression. Truth is different for everyone. My truth is different than each one of your truths. That's what makes it unique. My truth isn't your truth, right? You each get to be you, uniquely you. And there's billions of people on this planet who resonate with each one of you in exactly the way that they can hear every word you say, every word lands, and they're begging for more. Right? They just really got to have more of this, because they can see themselves in you. And so you're the bridge to them. Mm-hmm. So you are the bridge from them to you, and you to them. That is the bridge, right? For them to open up. That's exactly who I get to be. Mm-hmm. I get to be the standing example of what's humanly possible. so that you can have these experiences and just be
Mm-hmm.
fucking joyful, like joyful and blissful, and experience inner peace, because everything you experience on the inside is reflected to you on the outside. And I see it as, and I think I've said this before, and I have that moment of trepidation saying it out loud, but imagine all the humans that are in war and all the third world countries that are fighting themselves, and they wake up in the morning and they go, I don't want to fight anymore. And they don't know why. Just something really, overwhelming inside of them just decides that they just don't want to. They just would rather be happy. And so they pack up all their shit and they go home. That's what I see happening. It's just a magical little moment where they go, oh, I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like fighting anymore. I don't feel like, shooting people, killing people, hurting people for no reason in their heads, no reason, I guess. They thought they had a reason. But having that moment of mass realization, and one by one, like popcorn, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't feel like doing this. They just all suddenly wake up to themselves and go home.
In the spirit of that, I'll share my little thought.
Yeah.
I have been envisioning lately women walking down the street, women with and without children, just saying, hey, guess what? We don't want this anymore. Like, we're not into it, none of it. And I'm not saying any political leader at all. Actually, I don't have feelings towards it. I'm just saying the way it's run. And then could you imagine, for real, in the spirit of what you're saying, if it was every single leader was a woman?
Oh my God.
It'd be so more productive and so good and loving. We'd have like kumbaya sessions on a global level.
That would be so fun.
Yeah,
That would be so fun.
so tired of it's so crunchy and so outdated the way it all is. I mean, it's been like that for like 50 years. Ugh.
Okay, so what a visual, right? Women are actually like running the world, and the men are supporting with their tactics and techniques, and the way they function. They have a very masculine expression has a very sorted, you know what I mean, structural way of thinking, and this is the way it could be, where women are like, yeah, but what about this? Because we speak from here. Men speak from here.
It's so interesting. And if you would have asked me like 5 years ago, I would have said, obviously I'm a woman in business, or women in general. And so I really wasn't in like women. I was supportive of women's movements for sure, but I would just look at it as humans. And a lot of my clients are men right now. And so one of the things that comes up for me is I see men, and yes, I see the exterior and some of the crunchiness, but deep down, a lot of the men that I work with, they're actually more compassionate and gentler and kinder than some of the women that I know that are in leadership roles. And so it looks at how we project and how we create space for the men to show up. And so then they show up like this, when what if we shifted the conversation? So man or woman is irrelevant. It's just that we show up in a compassionate way where we all say, we are human, we are one, we are just being.
100%. And I totally hear you, Kathleen. That's exactly what, there's always a progression of movement. So it goes from where we're at now into potentially into a more like female like version of it. And then on the other side of that is both, because what we learn from men, then men learn from women, and then they come together and support each other in exactly what works.
It's like the extremes.
Progression. Yeah, we get to move.
Look at it as like energy, right? Instead of like male, female, like the feminine energy and the masculine energy, right? Like males can have that feminine compassion, and women can be like totally loving and assertive in the sense of how they project that. So like embodying it all.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to say it, of like we get to be the whole versus one space. And so I love that you brought that up, Sylvia, of the women in leadership. Yeah, absolutely. And like both sides of it. So we
get to all come together as like a whole. Before we move forward, we only have a couple minutes left. So I just wanted to close this up, but we get to continue this conversation because I think we hit on something. I think we hit on something really flippin' cool, and it would be really fun to investigate that through conversation, like in a bigger way. So like dive deeper into what that could look like, because that will pull through into this reality, what's possible through conversation and the energetic like tapping in to that well and then opening it up so the spring can follow through. So I want to thank you ladies for being here.
I love you all.
It turns out to be
I love
so
you.
fucking fun. I love it so much, and I'm super grateful for all of you. And it would be great if this was supportive to everyone else that gets to see it as well. So we'll see what we can do about that as well. But thank you for coming. I love
Bye, guys. Love y'all.
Love ya.
you. See you later.